All right. Hello, everyone. It's Michelle Mahar here again, and I'm here with Dana Pharant right now. Thank you so much, Dana, for giving me your time to talk about not should, hold on, how we are navigating through these challenging times as we are going through this COVID-19 pandemic and, dealing with it. So, Dana, if you want to just give us a few words about what you are all about.
Oh, thanks, Michelle. Always a pleasure to get to hang out with you for a little bit, even if it has to be virtual, right?
Yes.
So my name is Dana Pharant, and I am a serial entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. I'm also a personal development junkie, so I love all things, spiritual development, energy-wise, everything in through, working with our mind and working with our bodies. And of course, I have a background in healthcare, and I bring that. So when I work with people now, it's bringing all of that background, plus of course my unique background in the world of the dominatrix, and bringing that in for the archetype of the dominatrix, for people to step into a place of authentic empowerment, next level consciousness, really running our business from a place of I get to be the expert, that I don't have to look to other people to be the expert. I'm running it from my intuition, my knowing, and standing in that place. So that's kind of a quick overview of who I am and what I'm doing.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And that, when you talk about that, stepping into our own authentic power, that makes me really think about right now. What has happened is that we are forced to pause.
Mm.
You can't go outside and, spend your day shopping or anything like that. So, we have been given the chance to, this is really an opportunity that we should be looking at to step into your power
Absolutely.
and decide who you want to be.
Yeah, I love that this is created, like you say, there's an opening right now. Things are shut down. And if we go back to times when we actually lived in sync with nature, we would have naturally, have these moments in nature where we would kind of pull back and reflect and, replenish ourselves in the winter times, and preparing for the spring and the planting. In the summer, you're tending to all of those things, and then the fall you harvest and you continue to cycle. And we've gotten out of sync with nature, and I know that's not something I talk about a lot, but I think this is really pressing with what is going on, is that it's so hard to ignore the fact that all of us pausing has had a tremendously, if you want to call it positive impact on the globe, on our planet. Pollution levels are down, visibly down. The waters are clearing up a little bit. There's a huge change in a very short period of time. So it says something for, how we are connected to the earth, and we're an intrinsic part of the earth. Saying, I really believe that this is the virus from the earth, personally, of saying, okay, we're a little heavy on the population, right? Let's maybe, and I know people don't like to think of it that way, but in nature, there's a fungus. I gotta look it up to get the name. I meant to look that up. But there's a fungus that will morph itself and adjust, so that if the bug population, if one of the bugs gets, out of control as far as population, the fungus adjusts to be able to kill off half of the bug population, to bring everything back into order. So really, if we're looking at this in that bigger picture, we can say, well, what is being put back into order? And not necessarily that we need to kill off half our population, but I think there's an opportunity here to start to say, how are we moving in the world? How are we impacting the world? Not just ourselves, not just our bank accounts, but the bigger picture. How
Right.
are we connecting? I think this space of being disconnected, and where we have to connect virtually, and it's creating, of course, this desire for everyone. I know even for me, like, I'm a huge introvert, and I'm like, I want some people to come over and I want to give them a big hug because I'm missing my hugs, right? But there's a time and a space that is opened up if we are willing to choose to step out of the emotions, if we're willing to step out of that fear, anxiety, propaganda, all of the pieces, shut off the noise, shut off the news,
Yeah.
shut off social media, and actually go within, right? To actually listen. What is our piece in this? And, my lessons in COVID are going to be different from your lessons in COVID. And that's the other big thing too, is that I don't get to be the one to say, oh, Michele, here's what your lessons are, because that's what the lessons are that I'm going through. So therefore they should be your lessons too, right? But this time to actually stop and say, what, like quiet things, listen, get reconnected with that inner intuition, all the things that I've been trying to get people to listen to for so long. Now we finally
Right.
have an opening, right? Where it's like, okay, it's in your face.
Yeah, exactly. People are being forced to pause
Yeah,
when they always would say, I don't have time for this, don't have time for that, don't have time for it. Well, now you can't make those excuses anymore. You always had the time, you just didn't choose to use your time
yeah,
in that manner.
absolutely.
And I guess we have to also look at how we were using the Earth's resources, right? That's
Well, it's, we are connected. Our exhale is carbon dioxide. The trees breathe that in and breathe out the oxygen that we need. So we are intrinsically part of the Earth cycle.
right.
And so when we can stop and pause in that way and say we are part of this, I think that's the other really cool one of the things I see for the deeper explanation or invitation here is an invitation to step into this perspective of what if we are all one? What if we are one organism? And I know Bruce Lipton talks a little bit about this movement in consciousness going from the individual to now as a humanity, that we're looking at, all of the plants, animals, humans, everything on the planet is one organism. So you and I are individual cells inside of the entire organism. And when we can start to think of ourselves in this way, then it's not, me against you. It's not me trying to, one up. I'm not trying to get all the toilet paper. I'm like, like we're gonna think a little differently. So there's this wonderful invitation to look at that. And isn't it interesting that the invitation to be aware of how connected we are, and the lesson, of course, is being felt through being disconnected from everybody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That's true. And you can see how everybody has come together as a community in so many ways, whether it
Yeah.
be small, manufacturing businesses adjusting their processes so that they can produce the necessary masks, hospital gowns, and whatever other equipment is needed.
Mhm.
Just neighbors offering to buy groceries for the elderly and leave it on the front porches. Some people just leaving gifts. I saw something over Easter weekend. They were talking about leaving, Easter chocolates on people's different porches and things like
Oh,
that. And just the whole political parties, at least in Canada, um, there's no more, the lines are no longer there. Everybody's just working together for the good of the country, and
mhm.
then countries working together for the good of the world and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, like the lines, the borders are being blurred and dissolved. And so again, this concept
Concept
of
of community,
coming
a
in,
one.
yeah, community oneness is really fascinating. And I just wanted to, speak to one thing that, I know that the idea here was to make this positive, but I want to just give people permission that if you are still in the place of feeling out of sorts, you're feeling like it's like, I'm losing my bearings, or you're feeling really lost, that to not be hard on yourself, that
Right.
we each are processing all of this information at different levels. And it was fascinating. So today I read an article, um, Steve Hassan, he is an expert in cults. And, so I ended up going down a rabbit hole because of course I grew up in a cult.
Right.
And so his blog was about the COVID and how, a lot of these cults are using that to reenact the fear. They're using it to hook people back in to the
Oh,
cult. And I was like, it clicked because I had been feeling like I was having flashbacks again. I'm thinking, this is crazy. Why am I having, it's like, and I knew cognitively, okay, end of day feels like Armageddon, and Armageddon was what was always predicted and
right.
but this piece, it's just want to bring it up because if this time, if anybody has been through that similar situation where the imprint of Armageddon, end of day, any of that kind of prediction, then this pandemic is going to fire off all of those um, triggers in our body.
Yeah.
and
Right.
and so you're going through an extra layer of healing from what other people are going through. So in that case, if anyone listening to this has that in your background, please unplug from all social media and start going within. Start to listen to your own voice and really get to know yourself, because too much information can be just even more overwhelming. And there's also the aspect of, when we have unresolved trauma from childhood and things, that this pandemic can really stir that up. So it's a great time to heal. It's a great time to lean into the discomfort and the pain in a way that, we allow ourselves to breathe into the pain. We move into it, not making it wrong, but allowing it to just morph on its own. We're not pushing it away. We're not eating it away.
Right.
We're just allowing it to be and kind of like getting to know it, like, hey, how you doing? And of course, if it's really big, please reach out to a professional. This is
Hmm.
not, you don't have to do everything yourself.
Right. Yeah. And that's very important to note as well, because like you say, different people are processing this differently, obviously. I did see something recently that was talking about this, what we're going through, kind of the same as grieving, because we are grieving the loss of our life before this.
Absolutely. Yeah, we
Mhm.
will not be the same. We're not going back to normal. There's
No.
no way. Like we're just this is where I get really excited, because it's like excuse me, this piece of, all right, we're not going to go back. So what are we going to do to intentionally create something new? And this is
Right.
where it brings it into the business, which is what we wanted to kind of talk about, is that same idea. What are we going to intentionally create for our business? And so when we step out of the fear, we step into this concept of however it works for you, of your oneness, spiritual, however, but stepping into that bigger picture, and then being able to come from that bigger picture and say, what is it that I really want to create? And laying our foundation now while it's a time of rest, because that's really what the winter is kind of like a planning stage. What am I going to plant for the spring? I'm going to get it all lined up. I'm going to figure out, what's going to get planted where. And so this is a great time for us to have that kind of, planning for our business, and, brainstorm with some other really smart business people and say, okay, here's what I'm thinking of doing. What do you see? What would add to it? What are the possible pitfalls? Doing those kinds of things so that you can get inspiration. And a small group doesn't have to, please don't, actually, I discourage a big group because it goes sideways. But a group
Right.
of 4 or 6 is
Yeah.
beautiful. It's beautiful. When you really get some good minds together, 4 or 6 people can bounce ideas off of each other and hold space for one another to just keep expanding it even further. It's really fun.
Right. Yeah. And actually, Zoom also has these breakout rooms. I
Yes.
didn't know that, but you could have a bigger group and break them into smaller groups and do
Yeah.
these little breakout rooms, which is great. So like the fact that we have this technology is just great. Otherwise, how would we be able to connect? It would just be again on the phone. But
Mm-hmm.
I've been on Zoom almost constant since, and I almost feel like I've been more social without being in person, but I've connected with a lot more people than I might have on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, it's and the thing is too, as you're going through this, I know initially there was a lot of fear for me. Eh, yeah, pretty much I got sucked into the whole grocery store thing on the Friday right after the NBA canceled the season. I went to Costco and I stood in that line.
Yeah.
I I've never, like, the line was, you know, twice through the store, kind of winding through the store, but and I stocked up on some stuff. Not there was no toilet paper at that point in time, so I didn't
Yeah.
get any of that. But I did get some meat to put in the freezer and things like that, which kind of made me feel a bit better. And then I reflected and realized that I didn't want to stay in that in that fear. And I haven't been watching the news at all. I try to avoid it. All I do is just make sure to get updated in terms of what I'm required to be doing from a,
Yeah.
safety, health and safety point of view.
Yeah.
I guess because the other thing is too, this whole fear affects your immune system, right?
Very dramatically. It's probably one of the biggest factors for affecting your immune system. It is, when you are in that fear state and you're pumping the adrenaline through your body, you're not able to replenish. You heal in the relaxation state. So when your body goes into parasympathetic as opposed to sympathetic, that's when your body has the time to repair and heal. Otherwise, if you're constantly pumping all the adrenaline through your body, which is what happens when you scroll through social media and it's fear, 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 and you're constantly it's like you're pushing the button inside. Fear, 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 right? And so you're always in that agitated state. And not only does it not allow you to think properly, because of course with our brain, the more emotionally reactive we are, the lower our cognitive ability is. And if we want to be able to think, we have to bring the emotions down to free up the resources. It's one or the other, right? We can't do both this way. It doesn't work. So understanding that and being able to, put it in perspective, I really find it's helpful to put it in perspective that yes, the danger of spreading it is high and we are doing what we can. However, the recovery rate is still at 80%. So
Right.
the odds of catching it are low, and then the odds of dying from it are very low. You actually still have a higher rate of dying from a car accident than this virus. But we are not advocating that we stop driving.
No, and the media sells bad news, right? The media
Well,
sells fear and bad
yeah,
news. That's what they sell. So
if it bleeds, it leads.
they're
Right.
not going to look at the recovery. They're not going to be broadcasting the recovery rate.
No.
Of course, the concern is those with who are elderly and have compromised immune systems or
Absolutely.
whatever other pre-existing conditions that
Yeah,
have difficulty, recovering from something like
absolutely.
this.
And I
So
always
we
like
have
to
to
make it
protect
clear.
them.
Yeah, I always like to make it clear, even though I, strongly advocate for getting out of fear, I am not advocating that people do not take precautions. I am
Right.
still in my house by myself. Been here for 6 weeks. Like, I go for groceries, that's it. I'm going stir crazy.
Well, at least you have your cats.
I have my cats. Yes, they keep me amused. They're fabulous.
I have mine too.
Yeah, pets are awesome. And
No,
they're
they're huge. I think they make a huge difference right now, especially for people that are living alone.
Yes,
It's a huge, benefit to have a pet. It just
absolutely.
helps with your anxiety too.
Well, and they've done the studies to show that petting either a cat or a dog, or a bunny or whatever, that will reduce the anxiety levels. It brings that down. So then you're boosting your immune system by having a pet.
Yes.
Not to mention getting some cuddles in, if
Right.
you happen to have a cuddly animal, which
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah, mine aren't that much for cuddles either. Well, one is more, the other one no. But
yeah. Yeah. So we were talking about possibly
Sorry,
talking
yeah.
about how to pivot with your business.
Right.
So, there are lots of ways to be creative. I'm seeing people being
Oh,
quite
yes.
creative in how they're running their business. And again, that comes down to, having that time, bringing your emotional state down so that you can brainstorm. If you're by yourself, just write down, what are 50 ways that I can make money right now? And it's not to say that you're going to follow up on them, but it's just so that you have this list of, okay, there are possibilities. And that
Right.
in itself just starts to open up your mind. Now you can kind of, take those and start to brainstorm again and say, okay, of these, which ones might be possibilities, or take them to a group where you're going to expand on it and say, okay, how else can I do it? Maybe it's doing an entirely different business. Maybe it's doing the business that you're currently in and taking it online. And online doesn't have to mean an online do-it-yourself course. And I have personal opinions about the do-it-yourself courses. I don't think they're a real asset to anybody. We are craving connection. We've always been craving connection. And so to go to something that's disconnected right
Right.
now, when people are craving connection, seems kind of counterintuitive to me. So
Right.
I would say anywhere that you can have, small groups that are highly interactive, right? So your Zoom, and you have your
Hmm.
breakout groups where there's groups of 4 or 6,
Yeah.
anything that is highly interactive like that, that's what's going to really, stick for people. That's what's going to mean something. To be on a Zoom call where there's 30, 40 pictures of all these different people across is actually overwhelming for us. It's too much.
Right. Oh, right.
Too much
Yeah.
stimulus. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's been a lot of stimulus just in social media in general because there are so many people offering free webinars.
Oh my God.
You can get quite overwhelmed, especially I myself like to learn a lot of things, from a personal development point of view. I saw so many things I was interested in, and initially I was signing up for all of them, and then I realized I really can't do all that. I have to have some downtime, or
Yeah.
else and I'm not going to learn either. If you don't have
Right.
time to process it afterwards, you're not going to learn.
Yeah, to process it, to implement it. And again, this is where it's like, I see a lot of people just going into reactive mode. And
Right.
right, that's a reactive, like, oh, let me sign
That
up for
is.
everything because there's all this free stuff. That's great. But if we take a step back first and start to go, okay, where am I going with my business? That's the first question that needs to be answered. Where am I going with my business? Once I know that, then I can look and I can say, okay, what am I missing? What skills do I need? Do I need to go learn it at a course, or do I just need to try it out and get moving? But until you do that process to say, where am I going and what do I need? Then you're signing up haphazardly, and as you experience, you overwhelm yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're not going to go anywhere. It's like you say, it's best to look at where you want to go with your business. And it's not only your business, right? It's looking inward to say, who do I want to be at the end of this?
Yeah.
When we come out the other side into whatever the new normal is going to be afterwards.
Yeah.
Who do I want to be, and what do I want my business to look like? And right now, and who do I want to serve?
Yeah. I mean, perfect time to, if you haven't been really happy with the industry that you've been serving, the aspect of that injury, this is a great time to just ditch it all and pick up something new, because it's going to be
Right.
just as much effort as continuing on. So you might as well, like, okay, well, let's go for what brings me joy.
Right, true. And like we said, there are all kinds of resources, free or low cost right now. You've got the technology and you have the time, so you can sit there and
Mhm.
figure out what exactly you want to do.
Yeah.
The other thing is the people with the brick and mortar stores, whether it's boutiques, hair salons, nail salons, massage therapists, people like that are going to be quite busy, I think, after this period of time, right? Especially hair salon. So,
Yeah. And
so
I know people are going to be very mixed opinion on this suggestion, but I think the hairstylists and nail salons have an opportunity that they might want to capitalize on, which is offering a premium price for that first week back. You're never going to get that first initial week again.
Never even thought about that. That
Yeah.
is definitely an interesting, oh,
'Cause
wow, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it's like,
you're never going to get it back again.
never gonna get it back. How do you choose who gets the first week? You now have everybody in need of their appointments. So you might have like the premium price for the first week, a less premium price for the second week, and then back to regular price on the third week. So that if price is what's important, then you're gonna wait for 3 weeks. And now people are self-selecting as to where they want to go.
That's a really great idea.
Yeah.
Hadn't even thought of that. And definitely, yeah, exactly. It's up to the client.
Yeah, and it's a way for them to
What's
make back
most
a little
important.
bit of the money that they've lost, because let's face it. I mean, I think I've missed 2 nail appointments at this point. Like that's a big chunk of income that they are losing, and they have to pay rent. So I
And they're
don't
still having to pay, exactly.
they're still having to pay. Yeah, I have no problems with doing that. If she wanted to charge me double for my first appointment and I get it in the first week, yeah, I'd be paying her.
Me too.
Right? Like there are people who will be like, yeah, and other people will be like, no, and they'll be fine. They'll be at 3
No,
weeks.
because there are some people who have said too that maybe they're going to just give this the chance to be more natural. Just let
Yeah.
your hair grow and be whatever it is. That not me. I've
me.
already decided it's not my thing. I'm not going to do that. But that's me. But definitely, there are going to be some people that are going to say,
There will.
"Oh, maybe I didn't need to go so many times. Maybe I didn't need to keep dyeing my hair."
Yeah.
And
In this case, those industries are going to need to look at how else can you service those customers?
right, yeah,
What else can you bring in for them? Like, and here's where I could see, like, let's look at the nail salon, because we were talking about that.
yeah,
Those people that are willing to go au naturel after this, well, maybe they're also looking to get in touch with their body a little more, and maybe offering reflexology services as an add-on for people to start, connecting with their body and doing something for their health. That's kind of an easy service for most of them to implement into the setup that they already have.
oh, because they've already got the
pedicure chairs,
beds and whatever,
right?
too.
And this is a great time for all other people to start learning reflexology. Get online, get learning that new skill, practice on your family members. And when things open up, then you can, you offer a special price for that first week because everybody's beta. Get them
right,
onto the service. All your staff gets trained, they get their test cases. And it's a way to kind of open up the scope, because you can't lose a third of your clients who have decided to stop doing their nails. You need to service them in another way.
Yeah, no, that's true. And also, with everybody being more conscious as we come through this, at least that is the hope.
Yes.
Then people will be more looking to more of those natural ways to heal your body.
Mm-hmm.
And an increase in services like that.
Yeah. There's so much opportunity, but this is, again, like, we have to get out of the fear of like, oh my God, I'm losing all my clients. I'm from the outside, so I don't run a nail salon, but I can look at it and go, oh, well, what if you did this? What if you did that? I'm familiar with the industry, of course, because I used to have that massage and spa supply outlet. So I'm very familiar with the industry. And there's still so much that can be done in the creativity world. Like, even with hairdressing can add on Indian head treatments. They can be done right in the chair. Like, there's lots of things that can be added on and start to cross over that maybe hadn't been promoted before. Or maybe they, offer, I don't know, like, it's something that pulls people in, even if they're not doing the color. Maybe there's an extended, scalp massage with your shampoo, or I don't know, like, it's just, it's like the sky is open, but you start to think in terms of, what else can I do with this person who's sitting in my chair?
Yeah, maybe incorporating in some essential oils into some treatments, so you've got the whole, the whole senses being
Yeah.
expanded.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the only thing is that it's important that they don't just disappear right now. These people who
Yeah.
own these businesses do need to have some sort of social media presence so that, their clients are
Yeah.
remember who they are, and that
And
that
I
type of
would
thing.
encourage them all, like, in that hairdressing, nail salon, those, even the restaurants and smaller boutique shops, restaurants and smaller boutique shops can be looking at selling gift certificates. Um,
Yes.
and then, nail and hair salons, they, I would encourage them to look at doing maybe a Patreon or a GoFundMe or something to invite their customers, the ones who still have jobs. This is not for everybody. This is not the people who have also lost their jobs, but
Right.
there are people who are continuing to get the same paycheck, but
Yes.
they're not spending. And so invite them to donate half of what they would have paid on their service in order to help make sure that that service is there when this all opens up again.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
that
That's
could be
true.
scary for those people because you're making a big ask. But if you do it in a way that's very heartfelt, then I think it sometimes needs to just be said for people to go,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Because I think if my nail salon made that, kind of like, here's a donation button, I'd probably send her some money.
Well, right. If you think about the fact that, your favorite hair salon, your favorite nail salon, wherever you go, what if they weren't there after this?
Right? How addicted are you to your hairdresser? Like, I've been with mine for 15
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, mine I've been with 12 years, and I mean, when she had broken her ankle and couldn't work for six months or something like that. I had to go somewhere else, or maybe 4 months. I had to go somewhere else and have it done, and no, 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 it took twice as long, and I was not that happy with it. So yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah. See,
exactly.
and that's the thing. Like, they can really capture that loyalty, the customer loyalty. Because I want to make sure my hairdresser is there. Like I said, I've been with her for 15 years. Prior to that, I was with her mother for 15 years. So,
Yeah, yeah,
I've been in this. I'm very, like, once I find a good hairdresser, it's like, man, I'm not letting go.
yeah. And I have the same thing for my nails now, which I this is something I've been doing for the last year and a half. Before that, I no, but now I have nails, so I'm keeping them.
Yeah.
And I found it's the same salon, but I had tried different people, and I found the one, and
Hmm.
actually her name is One.
I
Her
love it.
English name is One. But yeah, no, she does a great job, and I don't, that I want to continue with
Yeah.
her. So yeah, you're right
Yeah.
about the loyalty. Those are two the premium price and then that loyalty, two great concepts to definitely for them to think about.
Yeah. Think way
Yeah,
out.
and then of course the hair and nail salons. I think right now, producing videos just showing people what do you do with your nails in between, what
Yeah.
can you do at home, and hair. I think some hair salons are actually dropping off some packages for you to do
Color.
your own dye, your own color at home,
Ooh.
depending on.
See, now that's a great service because, like, I know, my color is custom made at the hairdressers. So if they
So they'll
mix it,
mix them up,
if
and
they mix it up and drop it off, I'd pay for that.
yeah, and
'Cause
then
I'm nervous.
that's what I've heard they're doing. Some are doing, and just at a reduced cost, obviously, because they're
Oh yeah,
not doing your hair.
yeah,
But of course, you'd much rather do that, having your custom color mixed, than going to the drugstore and buying whatever box, because you don't know it's not gonna be what it shows on that box.
yeah.
It's different on everybody's hair. I know from previous.
It's a crapshoot.
It
It is.
is. It is. So yeah, so that's another opportunity. And I think you also had a remote massage
Yeah, so it wasn't
session.
massage.
Oh, well,
So my massage therapist is very energy based, and
okay.
so she's been doing energy, craniosacral, and all of those modalities for a long time. And so I encouraged her to open up the possibility for her clients to still get treatments from her. Now, of course, she's an RMT, and you can't do the receipt because it's not hands on. but it does allow her to keep that connection. And for her, what's really important is being of service. She loves her work, and it fills her. So for her not to be treating people is killing her. Like she's in withdrawal.
Right. Yes, and I think that's the same. I think that's what is the same case for other people.
Yeah.
Well, I think for all of us as well. We just also are in withdrawal in terms of not being with people.
Yeah, but I have said to other massage therapists who are not energy based that there's an opportunity to be doing Zoom consultations with people. So one-on-one consultations with them, you know, doing an assessment. You can do a fair bit in assessment over the Zoom, you know, it's all private. And, you know, giving them some structural realignment tools and techniques and making them do it in front of you so that you make sure that they're doing it properly. They've really got that guidance, and you can charge for that. This is not a freebie. Like, don't give your one-on-one time away. But that customized solution is going to be critical, because if somebody can just, anybody can watch a video and say, oh, I need to do this. And then they do it and they do it wrong and they bugger up their neck.
Yeah, right.
So having that professional who can oversee what you're doing, say, wait, stop. Okay, just, you know, just, you know, it's just like guiding you like the photographer guides you to pose. That kind of consultation level is possible for massage therapists, physiotherapists, even chiropractors can be, you know, getting in on that kind of distance consultation.
Right. Yeah. And charging for it, like you say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Charge for it. Yeah. Don't be afraid to charge for things, people, because honestly, if people can afford a little bit, they can afford a reasonable amount. Like there's right, there's the people who are completely out of work, out of money. Granted, you're not targeting those people, but there's still a lot of people who do have money, so you don't need to give away the farm.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. That's a good thing to
Like
to mention as well.
I have a special going on right now, which is one-to-one with me, and it's so 4 sessions for $500 US, which is a reduced rate. It's about a third of what I normally charge. It's reduced because of COVID, but I'm not giving it away.
No.
Because in order for people to change, there does need to be that exchange. People need to lean into that money exchange at least a little bit.
Yeah, right. I think I've heard that people have said there's no value in free.
No.
Right.
People
So
don't show up for free.
Yeah. So you just need to, like you say, you can have a reduced rate because it's not the same, you know, service or whatever because of the situation. Yeah. But definitely, I think if people were really afraid to ask for anything at the beginning.
Absolutely.
Because it was also new. But I think at this point in time, we're like a month into the 5th week or whatever, and so we now are in a routine. That's you know, and it's kind of going to stay like this. I think. Well, they've said May 4th for schools opening, and I think it all centers around schools.
Yeah. So, and really, when it goes on extended like this, you know, free is great in the beginning, and I think that's what happened. Everybody's like, oh, well, we'll just, you know, make it
because
free.
you think it's 2
I can
weeks.
get through 2 weeks, and you know, that'll give me better exposure. Meanwhile, you know, everybody and their uncle is doing the exposure things. But now we're into the state where it's like, okay, we need to build, we need to earn money. I still need to eat, and we need to keep the businesses rolling, because that is also part of, again, this organism idea that if we have all of our small and medium-sized businesses healthy, our organism is healthy, and the economy can flow, move, and you know, the money gets exchanged more frequently if we are moving the money within our small businesses.
Yes. And that's why it's so important to support the small businesses, and that's why it's good that the restaurants are able to still do the takeout, and that they also offered them able to sell the alcohol with the
that's really opened up, which is smart,
which was a good thing, because they make money. You know, there's markup on that, and it's a service. You've got everything. You got the whole package there.
And beer in particular actually expires. It
Oh,
never
true.
expires in my house, but it expires.
Yeah, you're right. True. It's like 3 months or something like that
Yeah.
for
So
its shelf life.
yeah,
So
but
whatever they've got in inventory at their restaurant, yes.
then that's going to expire, and that's going to hit them again. So I think the government was really smart to open that up and make that a possibility. I personally wouldn't ever order alcohol from a restaurant because I'm having it at home. Beer fridge is right there.
Yeah, no, but
But
I
it's an
never thought of
option.
it from that perspective of the inventory as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there are lots of things being creative. Actually, I'm waiting for the weather to get a little bit warmer. I was really hoping we'd get some warm weather soon, because one of the things I want to do, we've got, of course, our breakfast place that we love going to, and I always post the breakfast with Pookie
Yes.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so we've got a trailer, and I want to pull the trailer up. I want to get there first thing in the morning. I want to pull the trailer up, and then we'll get takeout, but we'll eat it in the trailer so that it's like right there and fresh and hot. But it's been a
Right.
little too cold.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool this week. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, just something fun.
Yeah,
There's
no. Yeah,
get
exactly.
creative.
This is the time to be creative and think of things you used to like doing as a kid as well.
Yeah.
Because kids have a lot of imagination, and you lose that as adults. So
Yeah.
back to what you loved doing as a kid, and just maybe spend the day coloring or something.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
way to
okay to
get creative
unplug.
as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it stimulates different parts of your brain,
It
which is
does.
very
Yeah, it
fascinating.
does. It does
So
as well.
coloring, painting. Ideally, I'd love to see people like get finger paints, because you engage
That
so much of the body and the brain when you do that. And finger painting helps you to get away from like judging your painting quite so much. It becomes just that playful kinesthetic experience.
Yeah. Oh, I think I might want to do that. Yeah, I think there's still curbside pickup for Michael's, so
Ooh.
pick up some paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, all right. Well, so I think the uh the thing is that we have to remember, like at first, again, the contraction because it was fear, loss of control, but now we really have to surrender. I think that was a word that you were using on online as well. And
Yeah,
surrender and just be present and take each day one step at a time and look inward and get creative with your business.
absolutely.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dana. That was great. And I will put your information underneath this interview when I put it up in my group with
Okay.
along with special that you were offering too.
Yeah, I'll send you a link for the special, but I
Yeah.
also want to just do one little shout out for the Badass Intuition book. So if people want to go to innerdominatrix.com, they can download a copy of the Badass Intuition, which is a 6-week boot camp, which will really get you connected to that inner voice, that inner knowing, getting you connected to you being the expert. So this is the perfect time to put that in place.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. All right. We'll put that link underneath as well. But
Perfect.
great. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again for your time. And hopefully I'll see you in person soon.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Right.